So let's have a look at the grid for Minimax Race 2 here on Sunday. It's been a pretty good day in the office so far for Mika Trapp in the 118, having a great battle with Alexander Klugel, who joins him on the front row. Simon Meyer in the 145 will have Matthias Schulte in the 150 alongside for company. Kenyon Washington completes the top 5 in the 114 as, we've had a spinner, and that, as I say that is Kenyon Washington. I think that has just had a massive moment going through into turn 4. He was due to be joined on the grid by David Girouche in the 121. Hopefully Washington can get that cart back up onto the circuit. And it was just a complete aquaplane moment. I'm just having a look a little bit further back. And it was just going into the approach. And yeah, the back end just swapped around as he touched the brakes. Nein Bretag, Devin Leon Ukar and Ramona Hummel that is your starting order. Now they go on to the formation lap. So hopefully Washington has got that cart back out onto the circuit. And it is very, very difficult out there. The conditions not easy. I'm wondering if Washington has got them going. I'm not too sure if he has. We'll wait and see. I think that is the case. So now it's down to Alexander Klugel in second and Mika Trapp. That is the front row of this grid. They will be the ones controlling the pace. And a slippery surface flag has just been shown to the drivers. So the Marshall crew, the Stoken crew, KCT, as always, very, very good at what they do. Led by by a very good friend in the form of Camilo Hossinger. So now they're starting to line up in position. And Washington has got himself alongside Girouche, which is a good sign. I think we're just waiting for Ramona Hummel to catch up to the rest of the field. Because there are 8 drivers there. So, Trapp on pole. Klugel to the immediate left on the grid alongside on the front row. There comes Ramona Hummel. We split. The revs rise. Are we ready? The lights are out. They are off and racing, and it's a good start by Simon Meyer that's got past Alexander Klugel as Klugel gets around the outside of Simon Meyer. Washington trying to get past Schulte, but Girouche has already made his way up into 4th and is challenging for 3rd before we've even hit the inner apex of turn 4. Schulte trying to go up the inside. Washington's gone through. He's gone through past Schulte. He's gone past Girouche. He's gone past Meyer. Kenyon Washington with an inspired move up the inside of turn 4. And he's made up 3 places at the drop of a hat. Well done to that young man. Shades of what we saw, and you can see, there's problems there, and that is Nein Bretag. And there, of all people, that's Simon Meyer. Oh my goodness me, this race has definitely been shaken around. Someone's thrown the cat amongst the pigeons and locked them all in a small room to squabble amongst themselves. But this has changed the dynamic of the race. The wet weather has become a bit of an equaliser. And Kenyon Washington has taken full advantage of it. Mika Trapp is leading after the first lap. We've got 7 minutes and 50 plus an additional tour still to go as Kenyon Washington looks up the inside of Alexander Klugel. But on this occasion, the 180 stays in second as they come through turn 2. Girouche rounds out the top 4. Schulte in 5th. Devin Leon Ukar in 6th ahead of Nein Bretag. Simon Meyer all the way down in 8th position ahead of Ramona Hummel. So a real shame for the 145. We saw the incident a little bit earlier on, and that did not help things. But that is part and parcel of what happens when you have adverse weather conditions. And there is a move by Kenyon Washington. He has got past Alexander Klugel for 2nd position. Washington has started to come alive, and here comes David Girouche. So the move from Washington, he bumped over the curbs, then all of a sudden through turn 5, he got the job done. He went sideways, getting past Alexander Klugel in the process. So a real good bit of work there. He just literally scrabbled for traction. I think he did a bit of a Vaughan Gitton Jr. there, did Kenyon Washington, out of the final corner. It's still a lead for Mika Tap, but this time it's an ease racing 1-2, courtesy of Kenyon Washington behind Mika Tap. Gap between them 1.735 seconds. David Girouche now gets past Alexander Klugel, who is not on the pace. Klugel last time had a 1 minute 12.197 lap time. Mika Tap is in the 109s, the high 109s, and here comes Matthias Schulte to challenge 180, and Kenyon Washington might want to watch his front bumper if he goes over the curves through that chicane like that again, because that is quite a rather hard hit, and even the slightest amount of impact on the front bumper. No, Washington's lost it. Washington has lost second position. The back end spun around, and sometimes hitting these curbs, even with wet weather tyres, they are slick, they are greasy, they can cause stability problems. When you take an inch, the spin will send you away by a mile, and that was nearly what happened for Kenyon Washington right there, but he's managed to recover, and he's behind Matthias Schulte. So just under 3.5 minutes completed, 5.5 to go. And Mika Tap leads. David Girouche now in second. Alexander Klugel rounds out the top 3. Matthias Schulte and Kenyon Washington are just behind. Devin Leon Ukar rounds out the top 6. Naim Bretag in 7th. Simon Meyer in 8th, and Ramono Homol still circulating. Homol has done a really good job in both race weekends. This 104 has made it to the finish. Oh, that was a bit of a moment there for Alexander Klugel, and Kenyon Washington took full advantage because Schulte ran a little bit wide going through the chicane. Alexander Klugel was doing a Valtteri Bottas cutting the grass, and Schulte tries to go up the inside of the 180, and this time he does as a bit more curb taken by Schulte, who spins it! Oh my goodness, a 360 from Matthias Schulte, but he gathers it back up. Oh my. I thought there wasn't going to be more dramas than what we had in the DTKM, and then the Micromax, then Minimax comes along. I'm really wondering what's going to happen in the next few hours' time when we have juniors, seniors, DD2, DD2 Masters, and the final race of the weekend, which will be in the hands of the Deutsche Elektrokart-Meisterschaft. 4 minutes and 10 seconds plus an additional lap. Oh my goodness. If you wanted drama, action and spins, you've got it right here in Mülsen. So just over 5 minutes completed, just under 4 minutes to go, plus an additional lap. As again, I mean, he's like a rabbit hopping over these curbs as Kenyon Washington, because what's even more astounding, he's picked up the pace. He's less than a tenth off the pace of the leader, who's in the same racing stable as him. Mika Tap has got a 3.4 second lead over David Girouche as of the last lap, but in the fastest lap of 1 minute 9.254. Then along comes bunny hopping Kenyon Washington with a 1 minute 9.333. Girouche already in the 109s himself. So a very good show by these three drivers to really pick up the pace. So the track seems to be evolving. Those wet weather mojo tyres starting to do what they're intended to do. The blocks are meant to move the water aside, but drivers are using conventional and unconventional racing lines in order to get the lap time out of the karts. As a result of the spin earlier on, Matthias Schulte has ended up as, again, that bunny hopping technique seems to be working for Kenyon Washington. But it can also unsettle the back end of the car. He keeps on whacking the curbs like that, and he's found to be exceeding track limits. It's going to be crucial, but now he's got a real good run on David Girouche, and again, the curbs seem to be helping to anchor these karts a little bit further. Mika Tap, without a care in the world, is 3.3 seconds up the road, as we've got just over 2 minutes remaining. So Mika Tap leads. Ramona Hormel will be moving out of the way very, very shortly indeed. She sees David Jarush and Kenyon Washington storm past. And Washington has put in a 1 minute 8.8. That curb technique is working. He has literally he's knocked 7 shades out of the gap between himself and David Jarush, but also the pair between them, they're closing in on the leader. Mika Trapp running in the 1 minute 10.4s, but Kenyon Washington doing everything he can to close on in to David Jarush and pass the 121. It's going to be a tall order to pass Mika Trapp to take the victory, but never say never. Washington takes a wide line coming out of that right-hand hairpin into the chicane once again and closes in on David Jarush. The next time around, after this lap, we'll get one more on the board. So we're on lap 7. Lap 8 about to be started. Mika Trapp not looking that far behind and not worrying about it, just carrying on with the job at hand. 50 seconds to go, and we're on to the 8th and penultimate lap of this race, and also their penultimate lap of the weekend, as Kenyon Washington round the outside of David Jarush gets a real good turn of pace, and he's right in the slipstream. Now they head into the left-hander here at 4. Washington looks to the inside. Jarush, spins the back end, and he goes round. He knows he's dropped a bit of a moment there, and he gets the engine refired up. Now that was exactly what Kenyon Washington wanted. He wanted some sort of drama. Well, he wanted to get past, but he didn't expect that David Jarush would spin right in front of him and open the door for Alexander Klugel. The hits, they keep on coming here at Rotax Max Challenge Germany. But the timer has expired, and there is Mika Trapp, who had some battling with Alexander Klugel earlier on in the race, but he's managed to make it his own, and he now comes out of the final corner, starts what will be the last lap, and Kenyon Washington has a little self-celebration. He goes, yes, I've got second. Now all he has to do is not put a foot wrong, is Kenyon Washington, and I'm going to do this. Touch wood. Alexander Klugel rounds out the top 3. David Jarush in 4th. So, Mika Trapp 2.7 seconds ahead of Kenyon Washington, just making sure he gets to the finish. As Washington again employing that bunny hopping curb technique. I'm sure his mum and dad will like that kind of expression. But there is Trapp. He's made sure that this race weekend would be his. And he's very much put himself as one of the drivers that are gunning for this championship. 2 corners remain. Make that one more. But he looks around his right shoulder. He knows Mika Trapp out of the final corner, the 118 from Nies Racing. He now takes the checkered and he celebrates a double victory here on finals day as we wait. And there has been drama because Kenyon Washington thought he had second. It goes to Alexander Klugel as Washington, I think, made a bit of a faux pas on the final lap. His last lap was a 1 minute 11.2. Well, no, it wasn't Washington. Now, where is Washington? He's dropped out of the top 3. Jarush takes 3rd at the flag, so Kenyon Washington. Oh, my goodness. Washington's weekend is about to hit a big halcyon high. It's hit the lowest of lows because that kart has not gotten past the checkered, and there it is. And that's on the chicane. I'm wondering whether that curb hopping, there is a term, mechanical sympathy, and there's only so much abuse components can take. So realistically, that has put a real downer. Kenyon Washington must have had a massive moment and probably beached it in the gravel. But Mika Trapp wins it. Alexander Klugel takes second ahead of David Jarush, Devin Leon Ukar, Naim Bretag, Simon Meyer, Matthias Schulte, Kenyon Washington out out on the penultimate lap, but ends up ahead of Ramona Hummel, who's taken the checkered.